She was a single black woman living in a small town, working 2 jobs to keep food on the table, never imagining that her life was about to be forever changed by 2 little white children who arrived on her doorstep 28 years ago. It was the spring of 1997 when she first saw them, clutching each other's hands with frightened eyes and dirt-smudged cheeks. They were brother and sister, ages 5 and 3, eyes the color of bluebells, hair the shade of ripe wheat. The county had placed them with her temporarily, but she didn't see a temporary situation. She saw 2 vulnerable souls who needed love, stability, someone who cared. She had grown up in a family that taught her to reach out to those in need. Though they didn't have much themselves, her parents welcomed neighbors who had fallen on hard times, offering meals, shelter, and kindness without judgment. From them, she learned that caring for others would bring its own rewards. So when the call came from Child Protective Services asking if she could foster 2 white children who had been abandoned by their parents, she didn't hesitate. She'd faced prejudice in her community, people whispering that a black woman wouldn't know how to raise white kids, that the kids would act out, that she was in over her head. She didn't care. All she cared about was giving those children a chance. From day one, she made her home theirs. She painted their rooms pastel yellow and blue, set out stuffed animals on their beds, and baked chocolate chip cookies just like her mother taught her, letting them lick the dough from wooden spoons. She read them bedtime stories under the glow of a small lamp, her voice soft with tenderness as she guided them through make-believe kingdoms and heroic quests. When they had nightmares, she let them sleep in her bed until they fell asleep, her arms wrapped around them like a warm shield against the dark. The neighbors whispered that she was asking for trouble, that the community church's strong tradition of white foster families would shun her, that she'd never see them get adopted. But she believed love was stronger than bias. After 6 months, she decided to apply for adoption. She didn't want them going through more foster homes. She wanted them to have a forever family. It took 2 years of legal hoops, court dates, home studies, and endless paperwork. The siblings clung to her through it all, their eyes shining, brighter each time she walked into the room. When the judge finally signed the final decree, making her their legal mother, she cried tears of relief and joy. The siblings, now 8 and 6, burst into her arms, hugging her tight as though they feared she might vanish. In that moment, everyone in the courtroom saw what she already knew. Family is about love, not blood. Over the next decade, she poured everything she had into raising them. She worked at the diner in the morning before heading to her night shift at the factory, squeezing in breakfast pancakes and bedtime whispers about their dreams. She coached their Little League team, attending every game, cheering louder than anyone in the stands. She faced sideways glances when other mothers saw her standing in the outfield with a black woman's stance, strong, determined, unflinching. She ignored the gossip and taught her children to sweep racist slurs off their shoulders with laughter and kindness. School events brought fresh challenges. When the siblings grew older, they experienced their own confusion about identity. Other kids would shout, "Hey, white kids, why are you hanging out with that black lady?" She sat them down in the kitchen one afternoon, their faces full of hurt. She explained that families come in all shapes and colors, that her heart chose them long before anyone looked at skin tones. She reminded them that love is the only color that matters. They hugged her, promising to always stand by her side. High school brought new trials. She worried about bullying, about her kids feeling out of place at college fairs where recruiters assumed her black son was adopted by a white family, not the other way around. She stood by them at every step. She helped craft college essays, quizzed them for scholarships, and took pride in their achievements. The siblings excelled. Her daughter won a debate championship. Her son became captain of the soccer team. Their gratitude shone through letters and whispered, "Thank you, moms," each night. When the children graduated and headed off to prestigious universities, her daughter to study environmental science, her son to major in engineering, she felt both pride and a pang of loneliness. The quiet house echoed with memories. Cookie baking mornings, muddy cleats tossed on the floor, laughter spilling out from movie marathons. She filled her days with volunteer work, tutoring underprivileged kids, and speaking at foster care workshops, sharing her story. She never dwelled on the sacrifice. Raising her kids felt like the greatest privilege. 28 years slipped by in a whirlwind. She retired from the factory, her back no longer willing to endure the late-night shifts. She took up painting, turning her small living room into a studio, the walls adorned with colorful landscapes. She had a routine: morning coffee on the porch, afternoons in her garden, evenings chatting with neighbors who once doubted her. Life was peaceful, steady, just the way she liked it. Then, one crisp autumn morning, the phone rang. It was her daughter calling from across the country. She spoke in hushed tones, her voice thick with excitement and emotion. She asked her mother to fly out for the weekend, promising a surprise. The woman's heart fluttered. She had no idea what awaited her. She bought her ticket, packed a small bag, and hurried to the airport. She wondered, would it be a new grandchild? A career breakthrough? After all these years, what could her children possibly orchestrate? When she landed, her son was waiting outside the terminal, a wide grin splitting his face. He embraced her, his hug stronger than she remembered. They drove in silence, the city skyline glowing against the evening sky. They pulled up to a sleek, corporate building, one she had never visited before. Confusion furrowed her brow. Her son led her inside, past marble floors and glossy glass walls, to an elevator that whisked them to the top floor. Doors slid open, revealing a room filled with her daughter's friends, her son's colleagues, community leaders, and even the mayor. They stood applauding as tears pricked her eyes. She stepped forward, scanning the room. At the center was a podium with a plaque bearing her name. Above it, a large screen displayed photos, her holding the children when they were toddlers, them blowing out birthday candles, her cheering at their graduations, her comforting them through heartbreaks. Then came a final photo, her standing, by herself, paintbrush in hand, smiling at one of her canvases. It was a retrospective of her life's work, a celebration of her love, her resilience, her courage to defy norms. Her daughter took the microphone and began to speak of their journey, of how they owed every achievement, every moment of joy to her unwavering support. She spoke of the days their mother stayed up late helping them with homework, the time she sold her own belongings to pay for college application fees, the countless sacrifices she made without complaint. Her voice cracked as she announced the unveiling of a brand new community center, the Marlene Jackson Family Resource Center, dedicated to supporting foster families and adoptions across the state. It would provide counseling, educational programs, shelter assistance, and scholarships, resources Marlene herself wished she had when she started her journey. Marlene's grandson, now a toddler, toddled up to her and handed her a handmade card. Inside, in careful scribbles, it read, "Thank you for our family." At that moment, Marlene realized her children had repaid her in the most profound way possible. They had taken every ounce of love, every lesson she taught them, and used it to create something that would help hundreds of families for generations to come. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she embraced them, her heart full beyond measure. The community applauded, the cameras flashed, and she felt a warm glow spread through her chest. She looked out at the faces of people whose lives would change because of what her children built in her honor. The very children she once rescued had grown up to rescue others, all because of the love she poured into them. Years later, the center thrives. Scholarships bear the Jackson name. Young foster parents attend seminars in the rooms that were once her living room dream. She volunteers there now, greeting families at the door, her hair streaked with silver but her spirit as vibrant as ever. When someone asks her what her greatest achievement is, she smiles and says it isn't the center, though she's proud. It's the family she holds dear, the two white kids who walked into her life 28 years ago and taught her even more than she taught them. And that is the true repayment, a lifetime of love returned 100-fold, rippling outward to change countless lives. Whenever someone says you can't expect gratitude from the ones you care for, she tells her story. She tells how love transcends race, how kindness multiplies, and how sometimes the greatest gifts come back to you in ways you never imagined. The world is a brighter place because of that black woman who opened her heart to two scared children. and even brighter now because of what those children have become. That, she says, is how they truly repaid her.